here with Alan. Thank you for making the trip up.
Yeah.
You drove up with Nickel.
I did, yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Carpooling makes it
Yeah.
a little bit
Well,
easier.
it was such a long drive. Like, you want to make sure there's a backup driver. And,
Yeah.
Take a lot of
Make
breaks.
Much better time if you're not.
Yeah.
After 4 hours of driving, you're like, I can't do this anymore. That's cool. Well, thank you for making the trip up and being here to join us. And
Thanks for having me
today. Absolutely, no problem. So with these NEMMEC related interviews, we're kind of theming this around beginnings and stuff like that, because this is our first event. We got a lot of people who might be their first time competing and stuff like that. And so the first question I have for is, do you remember the first model you've ever built?
Yeah, the first one I built was the MG RX-78-2 one-year war anime colors. Yeah, that was over a decade ago, I think.
Okay.
It was a good kit. I used, I think, a box cutter and like some pliers or something really stupid,
Yeah, nice.
And then over the years, I just went and touched it up, repeatedly, so.
Awesome. Very cool. Do you remember, you enter competitions, right? A little bit of competition?
So I've done competitions, but not for Gundam stuff specifically. Yeah, my background is more in minis and figures.
Okay.
So I do a lot of that kind of painting.
Awesome.
And I have a fine arts background, so I've done stuff there as well.
Very cool. So it still kind of fits into the same thing. So do you remember the first model or mini or whatever you entered into a competition?
Yeah, I entered. It was actually pretty recent. It was a 3D printed aboleth, so it's a D&D monster that I painted, and I entered it into the sculptor's hey, paint our model competition. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And so one of the theories I've had has been playing out so far, right? I mean, anybody who builds models or that kind of stuff, every build that you have, you find that thing that, I could do that better. I want to try to do better on that next time. Especially at the beginning, there's that first one, and you're like, oh, I screwed that up. I really want to do it better next time. Do you remember what that thing is? What that thing that you're like, I'm never going to make that mistake again?
The big thing for me is just trying to get contrast and light and shadow and scale.
Yeah.
So, a lot of Gundam models, you paint them flat, but I think it's way more visually interesting if you start, incorporating a lot of pre-shading. People do that already.
Right.
But if you start doing highlights and stuff as well, just to sort of force the eye on certain parts of the model.
Sure.
Maybe the head is painted a little bit lighter than everything else, and that'll give you more contrast and pull the eye towards the head and the eyes. So there's just sort of small stuff like that.
Okay.
That's me translating my mistakes in miniature to
it
to
still
Gundam,
applies.
Yeah.
There's a whole depth of things that can be improved on.
Yeah.
Done. The journey never ends. There's always something else. There's always more that you can do. Very cool. And being here to end on a note most related to the contest itself, and what are you most excited to see on the tables today? What are you looking forward to?
I'm just excited to see just everyone's work in general. What I'm really looking forward to is, in the end, when everyone's talking about their model kits together and just sort of improving together, learning what sorts of techniques other people used, what they can do better, and what they can teach other people as well.
Yeah.
So I think one of the best ways to learn is to just discuss with people.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to that, and the whole critiquing sessions afterwards, having the option to make it easy to talk to a judge about what you did and what hurt you, what helped you, all that kind of stuff. Very cool. Well, again, I really appreciate you spending the time and coming up here. It's not a short trip, so.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be here. So
cool. Glad to have you. Yeah. Thanks a lot.